The first time I said it, it slipped out as a joke, careless and light, the way people say dangerous things when they are afraid of meaning them. If we were the same age, I laughed, I'd visit you every night. There was a pause on the line. Not awkward. Not shy. Just quiet in a way that made my heart suddenly feel too loud in my chest. Then she said softly, "Does age really matter?" And in that moment, I knew my life had just tilted in a direction I wasn't prepared for. We met the way many lonely people do now, through quiet messages sent across glowing screens in the dead of night. I was 34, worn down by work, failed relationships, and the constant pressure to be someone I wasn't sure I could become. She was 22, full of curiosity, hope, and the kind of emotional honesty that both healed and terrified me. Her name was Lena. At first, it was harmless. Conversations about music, books, dreams. I told her about the business I was trying to build and how it kept failing. She told me about university, about feeling lost in a world that expected her to decide her entire future before she even understood herself. I never expected to care. But she listened in a way no one ever had. And somehow, without knowing when it happened, she became the calm in my chaos. The voice I looked for after long days. The reason I checked my phone before sleeping. And yet, the age difference hovered between us like a quiet shadow. We joked about it sometimes. Avoided it at others. Pretended it didn't matter while both of us secretly wondering if it mattered more than anything. The night I made the joke about visiting her every night, I meant it playfully. But when she asked if age really mattered, I couldn't bring myself to answer. Because the truth was, I was afraid. Afraid of being judged. Afraid of being the older man chasing something he had no right to. Afraid of wanting something that might never be allowed to grow. Our bond deepened anyway. She told me about the pressure from her parents to marry early. I told her about my past relationship that had ended because I chose ambition over love. We shared heartbreaks like confessionals, each trusting the other with pieces of ourselves we hadn't given to anyone else. Weeks turned into months. And then one night, she messaged me something that changed everything. "I think I'm falling in love with you." I read it 10 times before replying. My hands were shaking. My chest hurt. "Lena," I typed, "you're young. You'll meet someone closer to your age. Someone better." She replied immediately. "I don't want better. I want you." That was the moment the real challenges began. From that day on, the world didn't feel like a safe place anymore. What felt pure inside suddenly felt forbidden outside. Every conversation carried weight. Every laugh came with fear. Every quiet moment was filled with the question we were both avoiding: can this ever be real? We tried to ignore it. Pretended we could live in a world made only of words and late-night calls. But reality doesn't stay quiet forever. Her parents found out first. They saw a message on her phone. A simple one. My name. My age. That was enough. They forbade her to speak to me. Took her phone. Threatened to remove her from university. Told her I was manipulating her, using my age and experience to control her heart. It shattered her. And it shattered me. Days passed with no word from her. I walked through my life like a ghost. I couldn't focus on work. I didn't sleep. Every silence felt like punishment for wanting something I wasn't allowed to have. Then one night, after nearly 2 weeks, a new message appeared on my screen. "I found a way to text you. Please don't leave." I sat on my bed and cried like a child. But the challenges only grew heavier. She was watched constantly. Her freedom disappeared. Every message became dangerous. Every call a risk. And the guilt ate at me. I began to wonder if loving me was destroying her life. So I made the hardest decision of my life. I told her we should stop. I told her she deserved a future without secrets. Without fear. Without parents who looked at her with disappointment. Without a man who felt like a burden instead of a blessing. She begged me to stay. And I almost broke. But I left. I vanished from her life without another explanation. For months, I lived with the ache of it. Every song reminded me of her. Every passing girl her age felt like a reminder of the mistake I refused to repeat. I focused on rebuilding my business. I worked until exhaustion. I tried to become the man I thought she once saw in me. 2 years passed. And then, one evening, fate walked back into my life without asking permission. I was standing in line at a cafe when I heard my name spoken in a voice I hadn't heard out loud before. I turned slowly. It was her. Lena stood there, taller somehow. Stronger. No longer the girl from my late-night messages, but a woman with fire in her eyes and uncertainty still trembling beneath her courage. We stared at each other, frozen in time. "You disappeared," she said quietly. "I thought I was saving you," I replied. She smiled sadly. "You broke me first." We talked for hours that night. Everything spilled out. Her pain. My regret. The loneliness that followed both of us. She told me she had finished university. That she fought her parents for her independence. That she learned what it truly meant to stand alone. And then she said something that changed everything again. "I never stopped loving you. I just learned how to survive without you." That was the second challenge, the truth that love doesn't fade just because time passes. We didn't rush back into anything. This time, we moved slowly. Carefully. With respect for the scars we had both earned. I met her parents again, no longer as a ghost behind a screen, but as a man willing to stand in the light. They didn't accept me easily. They questioned my intentions. They challenged my past. They feared my age. But they saw something real in their daughter's eyes. Strength. Choice. This time, she wasn't a girl being protected. She was a woman deciding. The final test came when I failed again financially. A business deal collapsed. I lost nearly everything overnight. I told her to leave me before life dragged her down with me. She held my hands and said, "We already survived the worst. Don't run now." And I finally understood what her question years ago really meant. Does age really matter? It mattered to the world. It mattered to fear. It mattered to judgment. But it didn't matter to love that had endured silence, distance, and heartbreak. Today, she still visits me every night. Not as a joke. Not as a dream. But as my wife. And every time I look at her, I remember the night I almost lost everything because I was afraid of what people would say, only to realize later that the greatest risk in life is walking away from what your heart already chose. The lesson I learned is simple but not easy. Love does not ask for permission. It asks for courage. And sometimes, the only thing standing between two hearts is the fear of being misunderstood.